handle the truth.
Welcome, friends, to the Reality of Health podcast. What if what you were told long ago about the heart was not true? And because someone said this is what the heart is, everything after that has been going down the wrong path, trying to get to the right destination. In other words, a failed theory can lead to roadblocks or dead ends. Those roadblocks or dead ends would be the statement, "I don't know," or "we don't know." Well, that would be because the theory was wrong. Maybe you should change the theory. When you get new information, you change the theory. Guess what? Most knowledge never changes because everybody believes in the theory. And instead of changing the theory, we just keep going on believing it, even though there are things that we can't explain that are so obvious it bears common sense. When new information comes up that challenges said theory and fills the questions, "I don't know," or "we don't know," then you must retest your theory. That is the essence of scientific theory. If the flow of your blood in circulation does not have enough inherent flow, then it will restrict the blood vessels in order to increase the pressure, because pressure forces more flow. This is all done with fluid dynamics. Hypertension or high blood pressure is not the disease. It is a symptom of a lack of circulation or flow. So if you're chasing symptoms instead of the root cause, then your efficacy is going to be very small. Your side effects of other areas in your body are going to increase. The two most dynamic substances on this planet are air and water. You can't contain them. You can try and manipulate them, but in the end, they will always get away from you. Sure, you can blow up a balloon with air, but eventually all the air comes out. Of course, you can fill the container with water, but as soon as you crack it or open it, the water will come out. Your body is a receptacle of water. You are made up of anywhere between 60 to 70% water, depending on your age and your health level. Your blood pressure is a consequence of how much circulation or flow you have. By breathing, you can increase or decrease blood flow, thereby increase or decrease your blood pressure. If you stop breathing, your heart is going to pound really hard. You can see that in either breathing techniques or in exercise. If you don't get enough fluids, then you increase your blood pressure. Why? Because the blood gets too thick. When you don't get enough water, your body cannot structure it and therefore create fluid dynamics. It, meaning the water. You have to structure water, either coming into the body or once the water is in the body. If you listen to my water episode, I talk about this very concept. It's mind-blowing, and I think it is very, very interesting. It will explain to you why thick blood is bad and why you want to consume water, not just beverages. You see, fluid dynamics in your body are what you need to get corrected in order to lower blood pressure or hypertension, same thing. So picture it like this. Your body is like Jell-O, basically a collagen structure form. How do you make Jell-O? Well, you have to have water and protein. Now, if you put those two together, nothing happens until you add heat. What is heat? It's energy. So in order for your body to structure water inside all the protein structures, like your veins, capillaries, it requires water and energy. Where do you get energy from? I'll explain that shortly. By the way, this is how MRIs work. It sees structured water in the body. Therefore, you can see all the protein structures that make up your body. When the MRI looks for structured water first, it then shows you, in return, the shape of that structured water. That is the protein like in the Jell-O. If you take Jell-O and slice it, does all the water run out? No. Why? Because the water is being held in a gel structure. What are you trying to say, Eric? I'm losing you. Okay, water has 4 phases: solid, liquid, vapor or steam, and gel. Yes, there is a 4th phase of water. This is provable and totally scientific. It's a gel state. That's the easiest way to kind of think of it in your mind. But it's structured. This gel-like state of water is how you hydrate all of the structures of your body, including your blood. So what happens when there's not enough water in the blood? Well then, there's not enough magnetic charge. This magnetic charge between the surfaces of the proteins and the fluid in contact with those surfaces. Think of it like this: a bullet train. That thing goes really fast because there's no friction. It sits above the track and just glides. Inside the protein structures of your veins, on the surfaces, is negatively charged water. It's like a coating. And then in the center of the vein is a positively charged whatever fluid. In this case, we're talking about blood. They flow back and forth against each other. No friction equals very, very easy movement. How do you get the flow moving? That's the big question. We'll talk about that shortly as well. So if you take pharmaceutical drugs chasing high blood pressure and hypertension, you're chasing the wrong thing. You're opening up the blood vessels, but then the consequence is you reduce your flow. Remember fluid dynamics? Picture this. If I tried to send a whole ton of water through a really tiny hose, the amount of pressure pushing through that hose is very high. So coming out the other end is tons of pressure, like your water hose with the nozzle. Press the nozzle and a small hole opens up and you have tons of pressure coming out. If you take a tiny bit of water and try and force it through a huge pipe, there's no pressure at the other end. It's just basically trickling out. So without good flow, your body will constrict the blood vessels to increase the pressure. You see? Why do you need pressure? Because you have 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. That's more than 2 times around the equator of the Earth. That should blow everyone's mind. How are you going to do that without any pressure? Well, we don't care about pressure if you have flow. Think of suction. Once you start creating suction from a hose, it'll just keep going nonstop. It's amazing. That's called a siphon. Once that flow is moving well, it just keeps flowing. All you got to do is keep it going by having enough fluid to supply that system. So in order to keep that system running for 100 years in a closed gel-like environment like your body, it needs to be self-regulating, or else you could have way too much pressure or way too little pressure. This is why you have a heart. We will do a heart episode in the future shortly that'll explain what the heart is and all about heart health. In the meantime, as it refers to pressure, know that your heart is a regulator. It keeps the pressure exactly where it's supposed to be. Here's a teaser. The amount of pressure going into your heart is the same pressure coming out of your heart. How is that possible? Whether you're moving around or you increase pressure, the speed in and out stays the same. So if you're sitting on the couch, not doing anything, the pressure is still the same going in as it's going out. Interesting, isn't it? So what causes high blood pressure or hypertension? Well, it might be something as simple as exposure to EMFs. Here he goes again, talking about the electromagnetic fields. Yes, I am. Because it destabilizes your ability to create this gel-like structured water in your body. You are a being that is formed using water. Lose the water, and you are formless, like a balloon. No air in it, just flat piece of rubber. Poor diet will cause it because you're not getting enough animal foods. Yeah, animal foods are very good for you. You've heard a lot about heavy metals, how bad they are. The reason they're bad is they poison your tissues. They interrupt how your body uses energy, and that interferes with your body making structured water. Plus, they just straight out feed parasites. And then the parasites do, what parasites do after they eat. Glyphosate, which I just had an episode last week on, that also poisons your tissues. And then you can't make flow. It's all about the flow.
Excuse me, Flo? What is the soup du jour?
It's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
If you have good flow, you will not have high blood pressure. So if you have dirty water that's contaminated, like tap water, your body can't structure that. It's poisonous water. Yes, tap water is poisonous. I'm telling you straight. I am not kidding. If you are not going to filter your water, then you better be drinking something that you know where that source is coming from. And I'm not talking about bottled water you buy in the store that says it's filtered when it's really not, or whatever. You got to know your water. Not enough physical movement will slow your creation of flow.
Excuse me, Flo?
More movement, and then relaxation, and then movement, then relaxation, actually increases flow. Stress can inhibit all of this because it lowers your power in your autonomic nervous system. What are you saying, Eric? Are you saying that in order to lower blood pressure or hypertension, you need more structured water? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. There are many ways to create structured water in the body, and the more of it you make, the healthier you will be. That's a fact. It's provable. Do you feel better when you go to the beach? Sure you do. Why? Because the sun and the air and the sand and the water and all of that helps you increase more structured water. Why does that work? Remember I told you you need energy to make Jell-O. But of course, your dermatologist is going to say, don't go out in the sun. It's funny how they always say this stuff. When they say fat is flavor, but then your cardiologist is going to tell you not to eat fat. By the way, fat like ghee or butter or saturated fat or even olive oil helps you increase more structured water in the body. Why do you feel good when you go into the forest, or if you take your shoes and your socks off and you go stand in the grass, or if you go to a lake, or you swim and float down a river, or just go outside in the sun? Because you're getting energy from everything around you, especially the sun and the earth. Those negative ions that you get would be the equivalent of the heat source I spoke about when making Jell-O. The heat source being the energy that unfolds your proteins, allowing those proteins to absorb the water. Then that makes the structure of your cells, also creating the structure of water. You need energy in order to feel good. No energy, no life. Why do you eat? To get energy. Why do you sleep? To revive your battery that holds the energy. What happens when you don't get enough energy in any form? You get low energy, sickness, and death. Dr. Gerald Pollack, who figured out structured water, says in all of his testings, ghee made from butter was the highest producing structured water substance that you can consume. Collagen from animal foods is a super good way to create structured water in the body. That's why you need more animal foods. Bone broth, very, very good to create structured water. This could be the reason why bone broth is actually much better than people knew forever, until recently it's turned out to be this huge popular thing, since all these paleo diets and keto diets and carnivore diets are now popular. Because it helps create the structured water in your body, you feel better. You get healthier. You lose weight. You lower inflammation. You clean out the toxins. Why? Because bone broth has glycine in it. It also has collagen in it. But more importantly, it actually helps structure water in the body. That is awesome. You see, amino acids from animal foods, Yes, animal foods contain all of them. Plant-based diets do not. Even if you think you are food combining properly to get all the essential amino acids, trust me when I tell you, you're not. The amount of those foods that you would have to consume to get the proper amount of amino acids that make up your entire body is such a huge amount that you would either have serious digestive problems or TMJ from chewing so much. Yeah, I used to be a vegan vegetarian. I'm speaking from experience. Oh, but Eric, I know vegans and vegetarians who get plenty of protein. Okay, they might. I guarantee you they probably don't, but they think that they do. Plus, they're probably a brand new vegan vegetarian. Wait till 3 years passes and see what happens. The sun is a fantastic way to structure water. Not only can you put your water outside in the sun and the sun will structure it because of why? It's the energy source. But when you get sun, it's the energy source. Now your body creates more structured water because of sun exposure. That is one of the reasons why you feel good going in the sun. The energy. Can't go out in the sun? You could do red light therapy. That's also an energy source. I'm going to have an episode coming up on just red light therapy because it's really popular and a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are using it, but it's expensive tech and you should know what you're buying and really know you need it. Here's a cheap one that you can do to increase structured water in your body. Green tea. Oh yeah. Seems weird, right? The green tea creates structured water? Yes, but you have to do organic, of course. Don't drink that other stuff. It's God knows where it's coming from because most of that is, from the continent of Asia, and some of those places do not have regulations on how much lead or heavy metals can be used in the growing of anything that they make. Sleep is one of the best ways to recharge your battery. It is the best way to charge your battery, let's be frank. Did an episode on sleep. That would be episode number 12. If you haven't listened, you really should go back and listen to that. Sleep is one of the top 3 pillars of health. If you don't know what you're doing with sleep, you're never going to feel good. There are some supplements you can do. I'll go through these, pretty quickly. Magnesium. Oh yeah, it's all you hear about nowadays. Well, yeah, because it's responsible for over 500 functions in the body. Regulates your heart rate and sleep, plus it's a relaxant. So you want to lower your heart rate? Magnesium, awesome way to go. And know which magnesium you should use for those. Typically it is glycinate. Hawthorn berry, fantastic for your cardiovascular system. And one of the things it does is lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. Basically, like I said, it creates efficiency. Nattokinase, you've been hearing about that a lot recently, keeps your blood viscosity normal. That's pretty cool. Why does it do that? It eats up all the junk that's not supposed to be in your blood. All these proteinous structures of dead cells to fibrin and all this stuff that's just not supposed to be there, eats it up, gets rid of it. One of the coolest things that you could consume is GABA. G-A-B-A. Works because it helps your autonomic nervous system. It shifts you into more of a parasympathetic side. I talk about this autonomic nervous system a lot. Well, yeah, here's why. Another reason why, actually. You want to be able to get into parasympathetic side if you have hypertension. Another inexpensive supplement, very easy to take, really, really awesome for so many things, is grapeseed extract. And of course, potassium, because, that regulates your heart rate. What shouldn't you do? Stop drinking alcohol. It's just sugar. So if you stop consuming sugar or high carbs, most people will lower their blood pressure because carbs and sugar will absolutely increase your blood pressure. You can measure it yourself. Use your smartwatch or a cuff or something. These are stimulants to the nervous system. Causes all kinds of hormonal disruptions. I'm not saying small amounts. I'm saying multiple pieces of pizza or fruit or too much ice cream. The list is endless. You need to monitor after you eat and see what happens. It takes a little while after digestion to raise it, but it will raise. And then you need to stop worrying. That's the same as stress. It stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. That's the other side of your autonomic nervous system. That's the one that's called the flight mode. That will raise your blood pressure. Figure out ways to lower your worry. Either stop worrying, find coping mechanisms, talk to somebody, whatever it takes. You like beets?
Ew.
I don't. And I'm not talking about music. I'm talking about beets. Of course, they should be organic, but beets or beet juice, with the caveat that if you're prone to kidney stones, do not eat beets. But the nitric oxide that's in beets will definitely lower your blood pressure. It's extremely powerful. I'm just not a big fan of beets. If you like sort of the exercise side of things without putting out too much energy, yoga, proven to lower blood pressure, tai chi, qigong, meditation, prayer, these all work. Even walking works. This is how you do it. Walk for 45 minutes before you eat, briskly. Not like breaking a sweat, just not too slow. Then, if you want to walk after eating, that's where you go slow. You're just going to, take it easy. A very inexpensive and super simple way, and feels really good, way to lower your blood pressure is through a foot bath. Right? Warm water, add whatever you want to add to it. Just don't add stimulants like peppermint or something like that. You want to add things that will calm you, or just the water by itself. Not hot. You want like on the closer to the warm side. That will relax you. That works by lowering the sympathetic side of your nervous system and transferring itself and shifting its way into the parasympathetic. It calms you down. The least expensive way and the most fun way to get rid of blood pressure is laughter. Because it works on the parasympathetic side of your autonomic nervous system. That's where you're going to relax. Listen to humorous stuff, watch humorous things, do the joke of the day, whatever it takes. Find ways to laugh a lot. Laughing does so many good things to the body, it's absolutely incredible. From boosting your immune system to lowering your stress, getting you out of fear, increasing your health, and lowering your blood pressure. If you've learned something or want to support my channel, please subscribe, follow, and do all the other things every other channel asks for. Thank you for listening. If you want to contact me, my info is in the description box. Feel free to ask a question or suggest a topic, maybe some feedback, whatever. I look at every email and every comment. But please be constructive. I will not tolerate spam or rudeness or lewd comments. This is a place for healing and knowledge, not a negative space. If you want to read the transcript, it will be located on my website for each episode. It is therealityofhealth.com.